Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 221st Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. As most of you know, I usually put a battle on just on Saturday mornings, but today, Thursday, I noticed there was nobody on our computer, so I've decided to put, if you like, a midweek bonus battle on. Hope you enjoy it. It's only a short battle. Okay, the team consists of Brotherhood member Uther, who has bought the Rome Julii faction. I'd just like to draw your attention to Uther's only bought 12 infantry units and just 5 cavalry, including the old school cavalry armoured general there, the Roman armoured cavalry general. And if you notice that Uther has fully upgraded that unit. Now the specifications on that unit is very good anyway, but to be fully upgraded makes it really an elite unit there. And just to say, Uther supplied this battle, and it was fought between 7 and 8 years ago, approximately. The second teammate is Brotherhood member Pompey, who has bought the Rome Brutii faction. Just like to draw your attention there to Pompey's only bought 3 cavalry. So he's very infantry heavy in this particular battle. Be interesting to see how that infantry does during the course of this battle. And your third teammate is Brotherhood member Mystique, who has bought the Rome Julii faction. Now Mystique has bought, I think, 18 infantry units and only 2 cavalry units. So once again, it'll be interesting to see if having so much infantry makes up for a lack of cavalry there. Now I know all 3 of these have been playing RTW since it first came out, so you've got a lot of experience in this Brotherhood team, but you wait till you see the other team. This should be a great game for you to watch, and I hope you enjoy this midweek bonus battle. And here is the other team. We have Heaven's clan member Prospero, who has bought the Rome SPQR faction. It's a shame we don't see many Heaven players playing RTW much now, because they were a great clan at one time. And then we have Greek clan member Cleomenes, who has bought the Macedon faction. Just like to show you how long those Macedon pikes are. Remember we said about Roman generals taking those head on, having to fight all the way down those pikes to kill the man on the other end. So Macedon pikemen are quite formidable. And as you see, he's bought 5 companion cavalry, sometimes called the winged horsemen because of the wings kind of look on their helmets. And if you look at the upgrades, I think each one of those cavalry units have got 8 upgrades on. So those cavalry are extremely serious cavalry there. It'd be interesting to see how well they do. Their third teammate is Greek member Diomedes, who has bought the Greek cities faction. As a lot of RTW veterans remember, the Greeks clan's mission on RTW was to become the best clan with the pike factions, and to this end for hours and hours and hours they practiced until I think most RTW players would agree that the Greek clan did become the best clan with the pike factions. And their 2 most famous the 2 favourite factions were Macedon and Greek cities. Now when you see 2 Greek clan members on the battlefield, across the battlefield from you, and they're Greek cities and Macedon, you know you're in for a big fight. And you add a good Roman general with them as well, and you know this is going to be a real difficult battle to win. At this stage of the battle, I'd like to draw your attention to Pompey's infantry and how he's actually stretched each unit to 2 men. Can you see that? He's actually stretched them to their maximum width. And you might be quite curious to why he has done this. Well, I think the thinking behind that is that when a Roman unit fights a pike unit on a 1-to-1 basis kind of thing, the urban cohort unit tends to spread out, and herbs get round the flanks of those pike units, attacking their weak spot, the flanks. So I think by Pompey stretching his units as much as he can there, his thinking behind this is that he'll get more urban cohorts gradually creeping around the flanks of those pike units as he fights them. Obviously if the pike units stand in line like that, it's not going to make much difference, but if he actually takes pike units on a 1-to-1 basis, then I think that's why he's put his units in that stretched out formation mode. Be interesting to see. Okay, at this very early stage of the battle, you can see that Uther's making the most of his old school cavalry general there, being extremely aggressive, harassing and haranguing the enemy lines like he likes to do with that armoured general. And if you notice that Mystique, as we said earlier, has only got 2 cavalry units and 18 infantry. And if you notice, she's being aggressive with her cavalry as well. Seeing the SPQR units pulling back, knowing that she can hit them on the move, hit them in the rear with that cavalry. It was a nice aggressive attacking move there by Mystique. If you notice, her cavalry and Uther's old school cavalry general there just went into attack again. As you can see, the SPQR units moving back, so Mystique attacks again into the rear of those moving units. Bang! As you can see, Uther's old school general hit that SPQR unit as well. As I say, extremely aggressive here on this flank by both Mystique and Uther's cavalry general there. Okay, so let's go back over to the centre part of the battlefield here. Now, can you see that? Let's just pause the game for a second. The Greeks clan member here, Diomedes, has taken his Greek city army over to kind of the centre area in front of the Macedon army there. Now, I'm not sure what the tactic is in doing that, because what is opened up is there a flank here. So if Uther's quick and some of Pompey's unit, they can come round the flank here, and moving that Greek city's army over there has greatly exposed the flank of both the Macedon faction and the Greek cities faction there. So I'm not quite sure why the Greek cities generals moved. Maybe it's an aggressive move by the Greek cities generals to take on the Brutii infantry, but it certainly has exposed their flank, and if Uther and Pompey are quick here, they can take full advantage of that. As you see, the Greek cities generals moved his army over there, and is now attacking some of the forward Brutii Roman units there. Right, as we said, Uther spotted the opportunity here. Probably couldn't believe what was happening in front of his eyes there, seeing the Greek cities move over like that. And he is now moving his infantry round the flank of those Greek city units. My guess is that Pompey keep those forward Greek city units pinned there with his Brutii infantry, but my guess is he may even send some of his own infantry around the flank here with Uther. Right, the Macedon, Greek cities and SPQR team here seem to be being flanked quite quickly here by Uther. Okay, you've got some Macedon cavalry brought out here, but my guess is because Uther's got such a small amount of infantry, they're going to be quite well upgraded. So he probably doesn't fear being hit head on by that cavalry if he's got good upgraded infantry there. But if you notice, he's moving his Julii infantry round there almost freely, kind of not being challenged really. And if you see, can you see that Pompey brings some of his Brutii infantry over as well? Right, let's just pause the game for a second. Well, since the Greek city general moved over to that centre area here, as we said earlier, you can see that Uther and Pompey's units are moving around in a flanking action here. In fact, they could move all the way round to the rear of the enemy troops there. Uther's got his cavalry ready to back up his infantry if he needs it. And really, at the moment, they're not appear to be challenged in the movement that they're doing. As you see, the Greek city generals here is engaging some of Pompey's Brutii units there, but Pompey would be quite happy with that, keeping those units pinned there, where he gets some of his units, as well as all of Uther's infantry, around the flank. Meanwhile, on the other flank there, you can see that the enemy SPQR general and Mystique's army have not engaged properly yet. They've had a little bit of skirmish on that flank, as we saw earlier, but there's not a lot of action going on there at the moment. But where that SPQR general is in a good position there, I think, to be able to send rear units to help his allies, maybe on that other flank. But as I said, I think Uther here, if he wanted to, with cavalry backup, he could get right behind the enemy infantry there. If you notice there, he's pulled back a couple of his units as he's seen some Greek city units and those Macedon pikemen coming towards him there. So that's a smart move by Uther. He doesn't want to take those pikemen on head on, so he'll move back. He knows that Pompey's bringing infantry units round there as well, so there's going to be a massive piler hit on those pike factions there from all that infantry there. If you notice, the enemy SBQR generals brought 3 infantry units over here to try and slow down Uther and Pompey's advance to get in behind the enemy team. But if you see, I think Uther and some of Pompey's units are being extremely aggressive here, taking advantage of the positioning of the enemy team. As you can see, Mystique's got her 18 Julii infantry units there, just waiting to throw into the fray when ready. So it'll be interesting to see what happens over on this right flank. As we said a few minutes ago, can you see Uther's bringing his infantry right round the rear, right round to the rear of the enemy team here, even attacking the SBQR cavalry with infantry there. Just say, not a lot of battlefield awareness going on there by the other team, because obviously your cavalry is something that you need to guard, and letting infantry actually attack your cavalry where they're stood still is something that's not something that's very desirable, really. Okay, now Uther's committed his cavalry and some infantry units into the fray here, and the SBQR generals committed his cavalry and throwing infantry in. Plus you can see Cleomenes is companion cavalry, Macedon companion cavalry there as well, who's tangling with Pompey's Brutii cavalry at the moment. But as you can see here, Uther, as I said, has got his army right round behind the enemy team here, and he just seemed to advance without the enemy team really trying to stop him there. Right, let's just pause the game for a second. Right, as you can see here, Cleomenes' Macedon cavalry are up against Pompey's 3 cavalry units plus Mystique's infantry. You can see Mystique's moving her infantry forward now. It's like a sandwich. The SBQR guy is like in a red sandwich there between Mystique's army and Uther's army, and that is not a good position to be in there. As you can see, the SBQR army is being sandwiched from both sides there by fresh infantry units charging in. And over on the other side here, you can see that the Greek cities general is still attacking the Brutii infantry there. But if you notice here, you can see a couple of Pompey's Brutii units here can get in behind now those engaged Greek city units if he wants to. So you see Pompey's job there was really to keep those Greek city units pinned as much as he could to stop them sending reinforcements over to other flanks. So that was a nice little tactic there. And in the centre here you can see that Mystique and Pompey's got some units there just holding those Macedon units there, not wanting them to move. But I think what's going to have to happen is Cleomenes is going to have to move those 3 pike units at the back there over to help his ally, because things are not looking very good on the other flank here. Right, let's see what happens next. Right, you can see that the Julii, Mystique's Julii infantry are remorselessly moving forward into the enemy SBQR infantry there. And Uther's infantry at the back are attacking the enemy SBQR infantry as well. I'm not sure if the Macedon ally or the Greek city allies to get some reinforcements over to this flank, because at the moment their SBQR teammate is being double teamed by Mystique and Uther there. So Prospero needs some assistance, and fast. As you can see here, the red tide is gradually closing in on that SBQR army there. And some of the SBQR units are starting to rout now. If you notice, Cleomenes is starting to move some of his Macedon units over towards his ally here, but as I say, the SBQR army there is being hit by Mystique and Uther in a double team hit. As I said, in a sandwich vice kind of like attack there. If you notice, the Greek cities general is up to pikes now and is running his units over to that flank. Remember, you can't run if you've got your pikes down. You must always put your pikes up to run. Any new players watching this fancying using pike factions. So as you can see here at this stage of the battle, that most of the SBQR army has been routed now. If you notice, Mystique's got units ready to throw into the fray at any time there, in behind kind of those Macedon units there. And remember, those Macedon pikemen have not got very good morale. We've talked about this in other battle videos. If they feel they're surrounded and a lot of their allies are starting to rout, then that could start a chain rout of those Macedon units there. As you can see, the SBQR general's just been killed there, and that will of course lower the morale of any remaining SBQR troops left, but I think they are all routed now anyway. And as you can see now, Pompey, Uther and Mystique are closing in with their infantry, like a deadly vice, if you like, coming in, pushing in all the time to those pike units. And as more and more of them start to rout, that will lower the morale of the teammates they've got left fighting, and it wouldn't surprise me if there was all of a sudden possibly a mass rout there, as the kind of pike defensive box starts to collapse in. I should imagine they'll admit that, yeah, there you go, they've just admitted defeat there. And as you can see, the Brotherhood team are just closing in now, just probably getting a lot of kills here as they're pushing into the enemy team there. And the Brotherhood team appears to have gone on and won this battle there. But I just thought that was an interesting battle to show how fast and flexible Roman units can be when fighting pike units. I think to be a really good pike general, your speed and your micromanagement of your units have got to be spot on there. And when you see a teammate kind of being double teamed and things like that, you've got to up your pikes quick and get support over there, I think, because I think poor old Prospero over on the right flank there did kind of get well, as you saw, he got double teamed there. Okay, the first thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game. It's an interesting battle there, and as you can see there, that Greek Diomedes with his Greek cities there got some very good kills, as we know that Greek cities do usually get great kills in battles, so he's done very well there to get those kills. But if you notice that these other two teammates have not got great kills, and I think that's because for Macedon their morale is so poor that once units around them started to rout, they kind of just chain routed there. That's why they didn't get that many kills. And poor old Prospero was double teamed over on that right flank, so he didn't get a lot of chance to kill. Some nice kills to Mystique there. And just like to draw your attention to Uther, who had the smallest army on the battlefield and yet still got the third highest kills on the battlefield. So it just goes to show that sometimes it doesn't matter about how many infantry you've got or how big your army is, it's actually how you use it. So really well done to Mystique, Uther and Pompey there. Really nice aggressive tactical movement by them. And just to say to Diomedes, Cleomenes and Prospero, really well played to you guys. Your Spartan commander saying, hope you enjoyed the battle. See you soon. Bye for now.